Hello friends. Let's talk about gizmos today and how they can be used. Inside of Unity, there are a few examples of gizmos right from the start. The most obvious example is this one. This is the gizmo for the camera, and I'm sure you recognize it. You have a bit more settings for gizmos over here, where you can see all of the different gizmos. And also, if you ever find this camera icon gizmo annoying when you want to do something, you can turn it off in this menu by clicking on this camera. You see, it's gone. A few other gizmos that you may recognize is the audio source gizmo, or the particle system gizmo over here, or the different light gizmos. But there are also other ways to use gizmos. To show this, I will have imported a sprite, an example character. We can put them here. And then I have also imported a ground tile and put it over here, just for example. We'll set it to tiled, and then I will make it a bit bigger. And let's make a few more. Put it to tiled. For instance, something like this. Then usually on your character you have a player controller, and the player controller, for instance, have an empty game object defining where the ground position is to get the clear the is grounded condition. It might look something like this. Create empty ground position. And then you have to place it where you think the ground is. But it's not very easy to see it at the moment. Where is it? So you have to guess quite a lot. You could do some tricks, for instance, using gizmos. So up here on the empty game object, you can choose an icon that will be as the gizmo. Let's select this one. You can see now it's a bit easier to see where the ground should be. So if you put it in the middle here, you can see it. You can also change it to a diamond shape or a circle or anything, but I usually go with this one for this. Also, perhaps you have an empty game object somewhere in the scene for spawning enemies. For instance, I saw a spawner. You put it over here. But this is not visible in any way unless it's selected. So what you can do then is add a gizmo. Now it doesn't need to be selected, but you can see it anyway. For the ground position gizmo, I actually did this until recently, but then I found a better way to do this. So what I do now is I don't use this icon anymore. Instead, I go inside of the player controller script. So let's pretend this is our player controller. So remove this. So here we have the controller related stuff. And somewhere you probably have some is grounded related variables, such as, in my case, I usually use overlap box. So I will have variables such as private, float, box length, and likewise private float box height. And I will use this to create an overlapping box of the size of box length and box height, which I will use to detect if I am touching the ground. So what I can do is make an OnDrawGizmos method, which is an built-in Unity function, such as update or start at anyone. And you can use this to show the gizmos in the editor. The good thing about this is that this won't be included in the production build of your game. So it's only in the editor that it's used. This part of the code will be excluded when you build it to ship. So you can use this by first setting the color of the gizmo we want to show. So set it to, for instance, color.red. And then what you want to show. Gizmos. And we can show the basic shapes. So cubes, circles, spheres and stuff. I will use a cube for this one, a wired cube. So I will draw a wire cube and it wants a center point. So our center is the ground position. So we have private transform ground position, which your controller script probably already has access to. So set it to ground position dot position. Then the sizes. So new vector 2, box length, box height. Then you're done. Let's go back to Unity. And here we can attach the script to our player. Yeah. And we will set the ground position. And then we can increase the box length, and you see now it's visible in the editor, and it doesn't matter where I've clicked, it's visible. So now I see exactly how big my overlapping box will be that will detect collision with the ground. So this is an excellent way of using the gizmos, and this is the way I usually do it nowadays. Another example would be, for instance, with this ground objects tiles. So let's add a rigid body, collider to it, a box collider, and the same for this one and for this one. Right away we can see that the collider is badly shaped because we use the tile mode on the sprite. But it's very easy to miss this, and something like this could happen then. If we add a rigid body to our player and a collider as well. Move him slightly, and then you start the game and you wonder, why did my player fall to the ground? I did put a collider on it. And then you click on it and you notice, oh, the collider is too small. But the way to see the collider is once again to attach a script to the ground. So show collider, we can call it. Attach it to the ground tiles. And go inside. Let's remove this code. And we only need access to our box collider now. So box collider 2D, collider, and then OnDrawGizmos. Let's make another wired box. So set the gizmos.color to be equal to color. Let's go with magenta for this. And then we can draw the cube. Gizmos dot color dot draw wire cube equal to like this. And then we have bc dot bound collider 2D dot bounds to get the center, bound dot center, and then the new vector for the size. Collider dot size dot x and collider dot size dot y. Now we will draw a wired cube the size of our collider, starting at the center of the collider. I haven't grabbed a reference to this one, and I forgot to mention in the dummy controller script, in case you're trying to show in case you're basing your sizes or anything on a component that you need to grab a reference to, then you should be aware that if you do it like this, for instance, collider equal to get component box collider 2D, then it will not work. This will not work because in the editor you can see it's set to null object, null reference, because in the editor the awake method hasn't been running yet. So we need to do this line over here as well. And in this case we can just remove this. But just so you're aware, in some cases you might believe that, oh, I already have the reference to this, so I can just use it in the OnDrawGizmos. But you probably can't, unless you assign it from a serialized field in the editor. So now let's see what happens when we go back to Unity. Let's clear this. You can see, now we see our collider no matter where we have clicked. So we use this to go and adjust the collider size. Let's put it over there, and then go to this one. And we can see that the play lands on the object. So this is a perfectly good way to use Gizmos in your editor view to make life a bit simpler anyway. So I hope you find this helpful, and I'll see you later.